Welcome to the Crazy Wisdom Podcast. My guest here again is Kapil Gupta, back again. He said that he saw something in me and wanted to make sure that we got to it. So here we are. Thank you again for coming on.
Thank you.
Yeah. I'm really curious to what it is that you saw on me. I have some guesses, but I have no idea what that is, what it really is.
No, I sensed a level of sincerity, and it was more than just a sort of an empty question-answer session. So there seemed to be something more significant there, and so that compelled me to, consent to another one.
And it's really interesting because I felt like I ended the conversation early last time. I felt like I had a hesitation to go any further because of what I was experiencing, I guess, somatically. I was experiencing quite a bit of fear, which is a normal reaction I feel in various different circumstances. The only other time that it's been that intense was crossing the Golden Gate Bridge on my motorcycle and having this just intense wave of fear come over me. And I can't stop the motorcycle because I'm on a bridge. So, and I felt that same sort of fear come up when I was talking to you, but much more specific.
I see.
So one of the biggest things that's been on my mind since we last spoke was how difficult it is. I gave a consultation for somebody who's interested in coming to me for my massage services, and I love talking about anatomy, and so she had some issues with her body, and I loved talking about the anatomy, but immediately I started going into these prescriptions of like, you got to do this, you got to do that, you got to do this. And I wonder, without prescription, can we authentically communicate? Well, I mean, obviously we can, but
yeah, I think that with prescription, you cannot authentically communicate. Prescription is fine for mechanical things and even sort of exercise-related things. So you might tell someone to do 10 push-ups, or you might tell someone to run 3 miles, or you might tell someone to eat, less carbs and more protein. Those are mechanical things. Those are ingredient-related things. But anything that is more subtle, more nuanced, more artful, more significant, that's where prescriptions fall apart. So you can teach someone how to turn a screw. You can prescribe how to turn on a computer. You can tell someone how to wash a car. But when we get into more subtle and nuanced things, that's where prescriptions have no relevance in those areas. Now, even so, if you teach someone how to cook something, then you can teach them how to cook a basic level thing. However, a chef will take it to a whole other level, which is based upon art, which is not just based upon 2 tablespoons of this and 1 cup of that. If it was that simple, then everyone would be a world-class chef. So communication is possible only in the most base level and in relatively menial ways with prescriptions. Anything more significant, prescriptions have no relevance.
So what you're saying is, like, if you're taking a beginner level dance course or cooking course, then prescription has its place just to get you to that base level, but then you should give up the prescription as soon as possible.
I mean, dance is different. I mean, dance is not a mechanical thing. So dance is art. So no, I would say that when you're looking at something like dance, that isn't turning a screw. So that's an art right from the very beginning. So to inculcate one into prescriptions with regard to an art such as dance, the danger there is, as they say, you can't become a little bit pregnant. Once you start someone on that road of prescriptions on something that is fundamentally art, then that person will follow that same tune all the way through and follow the road of prescriptions. So I would say right from the very beginning, if it's something related to a true level of skill or art, that even the beginning levels, in fact, you could argue that it's the beginning levels that are most important to stay away from prescriptions. So anything mechanical is fine because it takes 5 seconds to learn it. I mean,
Mm.
but anything related to art, prescriptions fall apart. See, it must be understood. The fundamental truths must be understood, and that is that art cannot be prescribed. Art emerges, and in order to allow it to emerge, one must find the source within oneself from which that art arises. And if one does not become in tune or be given the permission to become in tune with that source, then that precedent will not have been established in that individual.
In my own experience in dance or any other skill that I've learned, that rings true, because basically what happens is I get taught a certain way to do something, and then later on I realize that that is a foundation or a framework which then needs to be given up at a certain point.
I don't think that you really arrive at that point, though.
Mm.
Usually, what happens is that once you go down the road of prescription, you remain on the road of prescription and you go down that sinkhole further and further. And so, the effect of prescriptions is that the person will come back and ask, am I doing it correctly? And
Mm.
is this right? And what do I need to do to make it better? And you spend the next 60 years trying to make it correct according to the standards and the guidelines of an instructor. So you end up pleasing the instructor. You never end up creating art.